So again, I will be recording the discussions para ma-reuse na to later on. Okay, so sige. Something your screen. Klaro ra no? Please confirm if maklaro ra ning discussion. Lah, grabe ka lag.
Yes, sir.
Klaro ra, klaro. Psychology. Okay. So again, thank you for that. If interested mo atong resources gikan sa OpenStax College, no, it's one of those butanta references sa psychology nga dali kay siya, easy kay siya sabton. So that no, this is the same reference that I gave to you katong na lecture, but anyway, I'm going to give it karon. So this afternoon we will be talking about motivation and emotion. Okay, so how people are motivated and how our emotional butanta processes arise with each of those experiences that we are having. Okay, so motivation and emotion. Okay, emotions can change in an instant, no? Especially in a response to an unexpected event. Surprise, fear, anger, sadness are some immediate emotions that people experience in the aftermath of April 15, 2013 Boston Marathon bombing. If makita ninyo ni, this is a yearly nga annual ni siya nga marathon sa Boston, Massachusetts, and then what happened was na ay isa ka terrorist nga gaplant og bomb no, wala siya paki actually kinsay mga ego, regardless of terrorism goes beyond cultures, it goes beyond religion, it goes beyond race, so wala siya paki no. So this one prime example na would be the mixed emotions after the carnage, no, the mixed emotions after the event, na uban na hadlok, na uban na shock, na trauma, no. So kana, what are emotions, no, and what causes them? For that person nga nisulod karon lang, I'm really sorry. Dili pa ako kabalik sa kuan. You just try to enter later. No, so what are emotions and what causes them? What motivated some bystanders to immediately help others while other run for safety? No, isa na sa mga questions na to when everything, di lang sa kaninga setting but when something happens, good, no. So let's go first with motivation. Okay, so we have two types of motivation, no. The motivation would be defined as the wants or need that direct the behavior towards a goal. So motivation is a directing a factor when it comes to our behavior. Nganong directing man siya? Because it pushes the behavior towards a certain goal. So basically, although complex na siya, just to simplify it, motivation actually is the fuel for our behavior towards a certain goal. Gusto ka mahimong social work, licensed or registered social work in the near future. So what should you do? And so nana kay gitawag nga behavior, nana kay set of behaviors that you should do. And so before na mo ma-act ng a certain set of behaviors, dapat nasa kay motivation. And what is the motivation? The drive towards, rather the want to be or the desire to be a registered social worker. The goal is to be a registered social worker. The motivation is the drive towards, to become. No, so inana. So it directs our behavior towards a goal. So directional siya, no, it orients our behavior towards something. Now it's a different story if na isa ka person nga lahi ilang gilihok and in relation sa ilang goal, like gusto gid sila makagraduate, gusto sila mag-eskwela but nagbulakbol sila eskwela, and so that's a different type of butanta of orientation. That's a different type of silbi butanta. That's a different case scenario, but on normal cases, motivation really directs our behavior. Now if you're onto something, if you're onto a certain goal and then you're acting differently kisa sa imong gisulti nga sa imong gisulti nga gusto nimo, then there might be problem with your goal setting, or there might be problem with your motivation, with your real motivation, with your real motive. Okay, so we have two types of emotion: intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic would be arises from internal factors, no, autonomy, mastery, purpose. It comes from within, no, putanta, validation. Those are intrinsic motivation, no. That's validation, unsa pa, love, acceptance, those things, no. Behaviors are performed because they bring a sense of personal satisfaction. For example, mga ka nga gusto ko maka flat 1 og GPA karon nga sem. And why? The question arises, why? Because I want to prove something to myself. That's what you call an intrinsic nga motivation. But when you say extrinsic motivation, it's a different type of motivation wherein iyang factor is external. Gusto ko maka flat 1 nga GPA because gipromisan ko sa akong mother og butanta iPhone 12 Pro, no. So between intrinsic and extrinsic, of course the same sila nga makahatag og motivation towards sa tao, but of course natay gitawag nga pros and cons. Intrinsic would be wala kay madawat from the external, but naay gitawag nga a bigger sense of butanta satisfaction, personal satisfaction. Extrinsic on the other hand, wala siya personal satisfaction, pero na kay madawat nga external nga reward. Kwarta ba dira, phone, sweldo, no, anything that is external. So compensation, punishment, and reward. And then we have the over justification effect. Intrinsic motivation daw is diminished when extrinsic motivation is given. So mo po na siyang naka weird sa brain sa tao. It's that tao na to beef. Kinsa ning nisulod? Nay nisulod? Wala. No, ang according sa tong reference was that if na kay ma-over justify ang imong extrinsic, ma-diminish siya, di man siya mawala, but ma-discount ang iyang effect when naay gitawag nga extrinsic motivation given. For example, you want to prove something to yourself nga dili ka bugo, that you can do something all by yourself, and so you take on these tasks sa academics nga ikaw ray muhimo just to prove something to yourself nga kaya nimo, right? So that's intrinsic motivation. And then here comes your parents nga nakita, uy, naningkamot akong anak, sige nak, kay kung maka dako imong grades kay taganti ka og something, taganti kag motor, taganti kag Honda Click, tanta sana all, no. But what happens with that is dira mo arise ang over justification effect. That's when malus nimo ang butanta ang gist sa imuhang intrinsic motivation, and then ang imuhang goal na dayon is ang extrinsic na dayon, no. In context with the goal, ang your after extrinsic na motivation, rather than proving something to yourself, wala na ka nga, I need to pass all of this, I need to get good grades because naay gatagad nga external nga reward. So there are explanations, no, of the difference, no. First would be the type of reinforcement, no. Tangible rewards appear to decrease intrinsic motivation, as we have discussed, and also tangible rewards appear to increase motivation. Intangible rewards appear to increase motivation. That's why if nag-struggle na ka and your teachers actually uplift you up, or ginatawag nga gina-lift imong spirits, actually it's a very big help sa mga students, no, nga nagkalandrakas na imuhang assignments nila sa Google Classroom, and then one teacher would say, sige lang, kaya na nimo, no. It actually increases the motivation sa person kaysa sa inanimo nga sige kayahan na kay taga-anti kag something, no. It decreases intrinsic motivation. And then we have, I'm really sorry for this, Okay, and we have expectation of extrinsic reward. No, intrinsic motivation is more like to increase if extrinsic reward is expected. So ga-expect kag something. Ga-expect ka nga, for example, you have a teacher nga nagsalig sa imuha. And so gitagaan kag daghan kay nga tasks because sa iyang tan-aw kaya nimo. And so ikaw pod gibuhat nimo. With the knowledge nga dako og salig imong teacher nimo, ikaw pod dako kag salig sa imong kaugalingon. So you do those tasks, but during the time nga imo nang ginabuhat, somebody offered the idea nga uy dapat yung katagag extra grades anak kay you did this and you did that, no? So it actually decreases, no, the intrinsic motivation. Mubuhat na lang ka because na ay external, tagaan ko grades nga dako ani, rather than proving nga kaya nimo ang isa ka task, no? Actually extrinsic motivation is not actually bad. It's actually good in a short run. Pero it's not a good nga motivation style on a long term nga mga plans, because not all plans are butanta maka-reward siya on a short term. For example, you had a plan nga gusto ko makapasa sa board exam. And so you work towards your goal, right? But dili tanan nimong action has a reward nga you know something of, right? It may be a reward nga wala ka kabalo na itabo day or ni agi sa imo, but still it's a reward, no? But wala ka kabalo, and so muwain ang imuhang if mag-expect lang kag rewards, silbi muwain ang imuhang motivation towards that goal, no? But if tagaan po kag something, it does not sustain you towards the goal po. It does not say nga if every semester na lang katagaag cellphone kay napasar nimo tanan nimo subject. It's not practical, no? And it's not realistic, and it actually hurts your capacity to do the tasks nga gihatag sa imo, kay di na ka mulihok not unless na ay suborno kana lang po, no? Intrinsic theory of motivation according ni William James, no, na atay intrinsic, asserting that behavior is driven by instincts, no, instinct theory of motivation, driven by instincts which aid our survival, no? We have proposed instincts include a mother's protection of her baby, the urge to lick sugar, and hunting prey. The theory received criticism for ignoring the role of learning in shaping human behavior. Opod, no? So kita kag tao nangawat, no, nangawat og food, and so you would say yes, no, nangawat siya because is not because dautan siya nga tao para nimo, but rather the person wants to survive, no? And that's a good example. But then again, na criticism for that na naman tay learning, we're not animals man. We're not driven by instinct, no, 100%, no? For example, gutom ka, di man ka manguha diretso pagkaon, right? Nagtawag na ay process of thinking involved, no? Gutom ka. For example, ang iro gigutom or iring, unsay buhaton nila, manglungkab sila, right? Because they are driven by instinct. No, mo po ning criticism kang William James sa iyang theory of motivation, because we learn and we think before we act, and so makita nato diri nga uy dili man pud pwede nga kung gutom ko manguha ako food ritso, and so na ay process of cogitating metabolic. In humans, instincts may include behavior such as an infant's rooting for a nipple and sucking. So kana aha ka nga part mo didi, no? So there is a research on that, no? Asa ka nga part mo didi, no? Because babies have this preference nga asa sila nga breast nga gusto mo drink, no? Drive theory of motivation. Drive theory proposes that the maintenance of homeostasis is important in directing behavior. So that, no, magka mutanta, if you have a want, if you have a need, magkadako ang drive for that need. Psychological drive, also known as psychological na pressure. And so what happens is that you will try to lessen the drive, no? So according sa aning theory is you will be what? You will be tawagan ni, you will be trying to maintain homeostasis sa imuhang system. Kana, no? You will try to maintain homeostasis. And so, kung magtaas ang drive, inaog nimo so that ma-maintain nimo ang balance sa imong lawas. Emphasizes the role that habits, pattern of behavior in which we regularly engage, play in behavioral response. If a behavior successfully reduces a drive, we are more likely to engage in that behavior in the future. Hunger and subsequent eating are the results of a complex physiological process that maintain homeostasis. So kana, if gutom ka, mukaon ka. If gutom ka, then you need food, so you will try to decrease the drive for food by eating. If giuhaw ka, ang drive for water musaka, and so you will try to put it back down by drinking water, no? And so pag inom nimo water, ka-maintain na kaog tawag nga homeostasis or a state of balance sa imong lawas. Okay. So arousal theory of motivation. Arousal theories assert that there's an optimum level of arousal what we all try to maintain, no? So an example ani would be under aroused, you will be bored, so you will seek stimulation. Over aroused, engage in behavior to reduce arousal. Sige, tagaanta mo og example. Nganong magbayad man ta og mahal para mo sakay og roller coaster para ma-stimulate, para ma-arouse, para ma-excite. And so, para dili ta ma-bored, under aroused man ta, mo bayad tag something to give us thrill. That's also the explanation nga nung most sa mga babae ganahan mo tanaw og horror movies, right? So that ma-thrill ka, no? It will give you the butanta magkuba-kuba im dughan because you're under aroused. But if you're over aroused, dili po ganahan ana, so you try to engage in behavior that reduce your arousal. So mangita po ka og butanta set of behavior nga makawala sa imuhang agitation or anxiety. For example, ana would be human sa inyong exam, you will relax, no? Or if somebody scolded you, mamino kag music, so para ma-bring down ang anxiety and agitation. Research suggests that optimum arousal level for performance is moderate arousal. No, if according ani nga research, if mo perform da kag task, dili ka under aroused, dili pug ka over aroused. Dapat sakto lang, no? So kung mo take kag exam, kung mo take kag board exam, dili ka excited kaayo, dili pug ka luyara kaayo. Sakto lang, no? And so with that sakto lang gitawag nga moderate arousal, it actually gives you the capacity to give a higher level of performance. So isa ka task, no? Always remember that. So kung mag-take mo exam, don't be too excited, no? Magkuan mo something, if you do something, don't be too excited and don't be too lethargic, no? Next would be the Yerkes-Dodson law. The optimum arousal depends on the complexity and difficulty of the task to be performed. And so Yerkes-Dodson law, task performance is best when arousal levels is in a middle range. No, akong gi-explain ganina. So, naa siya sa middle range, so most likely sakto ang imuhang performance level ana, no? So, we also have the concept of self-efficacy and social motivation. Self-efficacy would be an individual's belief in her own capacity to complete a task. Now, dili po din siya self-confidence. Lahi ang self-confidence sa self-efficacy. So self-confidence would be uh, the level of confidence that you have for yourself. Imuhang pag-value sa imong kaugalingon, no? But self-efficacy is imuhang tan-aw sa imuhang dili kaugalingon but imuhang capability to complete a task. For example, tagaan ka og puzzle nga pangbata, no? So the self-efficacy nimo ana sa imong kaugalingon would be high because kabalo ka sa imong capability nga ma-complete nimo ni. But if tagaan ka og midterm nga exam nga wala ka nakatuon og anything at all, tagaan kag midterm exam sa imong mathematics nga subject, for example, tagaan kag midterm exam sa trigonometry nga wala ka nakatuon, imong level of self-efficacy that time munaog because kabalo man kasi imong capability nga di nimo ma-complete ni nga task, no? So Bandura, it was Albert Bandura who theorized that self-efficacy plays a role in motivating behavior. He argues that motivation derives from expectations held about the consequences of behavior. Beliefs about our abilities will determine what we do and the goals we set for ourselves. Because if tan-aw nimo, if imong self-efficacy is ubos, most likely the goals that you will be setting for yourself would also be low. But if high efficacy, the goals that you will be setting for yourself will also be high, no? Or butanta higher level goals because kabalo man kasi imong capacity nga kaya nimo ni siya nga task. Okay? And then we have social motives, the need for achievement, affiliation, and intimacy. So these are all social motives, meaning you will get your motivation from the social nga context, which is by people, through people. The need for achievement drives accomplishment and performance. You want to what? You're motivated towards a goal, or you're motivated to do something because you want to achieve something. You want a certain sense of achievement, right? So pwede. The need for affiliation encourages positive interaction with others. Gusto ka mo apil ani nga club or gusto ka mo apil ani nga group of people because you have this need for affiliation and even the need for intimacy, no? People kani gyud because people look for butanta different unique ways, no, to seek intimacy and meaningful relationship. Actually atong ginapangita man gyud is meaningful relationship man. Dili fame actually, no? Fame could be good. Fame could be good. I won't be saying fame is bad, but fame is good to some degree. But the thing is, ang need yun sa tao is intimacy yun, no? Meaningful relationship that you can build with other people and you can build yourself in that relationship kana. And then here comes Maslow's hierarchy of needs, no? Kailaman tatan ni Abraham Maslow, walay makalimot aniha, no? So according kang Maslow, we have this, follow the cursor na lang, we have this hierarchy, no? Hierarchy is a structure that resembles a triangle or a pyramid, and then naa siya gitawag nga levels, no? Basic to complex. Okay? So kana ang ang theory ni Maslow. According ni Maslow, na gitawag nga hierarchy of needs. These needs kani, the needs for this, and this actually drives our behavior, no, towards something. So sige. So according kang Maslow natay hierarchy of needs, no? Hierarchy meaning mo ning pinaka basic, mo ning pinaka complex. Mag-start ta dire and you will end up here soon. First is the physiological needs, the need for water, shelter, and warmth. So, and when imo nang ma-satisfy, imo nang ma-address, no? Mangita na bugag next level of the next level of motivation. Like a child, good, no, nakakauna ka, you have the warmth of a family, or feeling of warmth, balay, no, and shelter, water, nakay food, basic na siya tanan. So next would be the level of butanta security, no. The next level would be the need for security, safety, employment, assets, no. And then we have the social nga need, which is family, friendship, intimacy, and belonging. Everybody needs to belong to somebody or someone, no. So imo na siyang i-address, imo na siyang i-satisfy, i-fulfill. The next with social is self-esteem, wherein you will work on your self-worth, accomplishment, and confidence. And according kang Maslow, ang pinakataas would be self-actualization, inner fulfillment, wherein you will then explode, no? Weird kaya akong term, but you will explode. Let me explain. So i-meet ni mo ni tanan, physiological, security, social. Most of us matrap ta sa esteem. Why? Because it's safer this way. During esteem, for example, nakahuman na kaog, eskwela, you have your work, no? Most likely mo settle na ta dire. Why? Because it's safer here. And muna ning most likely pinaka primeval sa tanan would be esteem. Because diri sa esteem, diri mo stop atong gitawag nga egocentric nga mga mental processes. Example ani would be this. Physiological, food, water, shelter, warmth. I-meet na siya, i-satisfy na siya by the person, right? Sayang, me, mukaon ko, no, I need this, I need food, I need water, puros I. Security, your employment, your assets, imuha gyapong security. Social, that I will belong to a family, that I will have friends, that I will have intimate relationship, that I will have a sense of belonging. I gyapon, right? It's egocentric. Self-esteem, that I will have self-worth, I will have accomplishment, I will attain this level of confidence, no? So ako gyapon, right? So dili tanan i-fulfill na nimo. And according kang Maslow, you go to the highest level, which is self-actualization. You will then explode because na-fulfill na nimo ning all of these factors. Pag-abot nimo dire, then you will be self-actualized na dayon. Self-actualized would be inner fulfillment, and you will be, according to one author, you will be doing what you were born to do. And that would be i-impart nimo imong self to other people na dayon. Because there is a lower parts, imong kaugalingon imong gina-satisfy. Physiological, security, imong kaugalingon na tanan. And when masatisfy na nimo ni tanan sa imong self, you then explode, you give back to others, then you will have a holistic development of personality. You will give back to other people. You will help other people, you will help other people attain their physiological needs. You will help other people attain certain level of security. You will help people with their social needs in terms of belongingness and family and intimacy. You will help people build their self-esteem, and then when you have helped them, sila na pod ang mo self-actualize. Muna siya ang point ni Abraham Maslow sa iyahang theory. No, that dili siya muhunong sa ako, og ako na lang tanan. No, according kang Maslow, maabot ang point that you will give back sa society. Or not sa society, butanta sa imong bigger nga, sa imong immediate nga environment, di ba? Like karon, you're working para makahuman ka og eskwela, para makatrabaho ka, makatabang ka sa imuhang pamilya. Actually, imuha tanan, no, it's so egocentric. But sige lang, no, by the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, maybe there's a level of egocentricity nga healthy, no, and then after that you will grow towards self-actualization, no. Hunger and eating, physiological nga mechanism, no, physiological mechanism, no. So hunger and eating are regulated by a complex interplay of hunger and satiety signals that are integrated in the brain, no? So before eating, you have empty stomach, contracts, and then hunger pangs na dayon and secretion of chemical messages that travel to the brain as a signal nga gigutom na si Dodong. And so, low blood glucose level, pancreas and liver generate chemical signals that induce hunger to initiate feeding behavior. No? So, after eating na dayon, mas satiate na ka, meaning nabusog na ka, feeling of fullness and satisfaction. Lami kaya kung gikaon, no, piniritong isda, and so you have this satisfaction kay lami im gikaon and nabusog ka. Not only dapat lami, dapat mabusog pud ka. Dili pud pwede nga mabusog lang ka then why lami im gikaon, walay satisfaction gyapon, right? And so we have increase in blood glucose levels, pancreas and liver send signals to shut off hunger and eating. Food passes through gastrointestinal tract, satiety signals are sent to the brain, and then fat cells release leptin, no, is certain hormone for satiety. So na kuan na ka, na satisfy na ka, no? So that's after eating. So metabolism and body weight, factors affecting body weight, gene environment interactions, no? So namang gyud genetic nga makeup nga tambokon gyud, no, tambok ug bukog matud pa nila, no, that's part of it. Number of calories consumed versus number of calories burned in a daily activity, and kani gyud pinakadako nga factor, metabolic rate, because nagi tao nga hinay gyud og metabolism, and so dali gyud mi manambok. Kami nga mga hinay og metabolic rate, dali kay mi manambok. That's why natay friends nga lami kaayo sila isulod og sako, no? Kanang mga friends nga mukaon og isa ka kaldero pero dili manambok, no? Ikaw nga niinom lang og isa ka basong tubig, nanambok na ka, no? So no. Anyway, metabolic rate, the amount of energy that is expended in a given period of time, no? It varies between individuals, and people with high metabolic rate burn off calories more easily, no, than those with lower rates of metabolism, as what I have said. And so regulation of body weight, we have set point theory. Each individual has an ideal body weight set point which is resistant to change, no? Nagi imuhang ideal nga body weight nga resistant yun na siya sa change, nga muna gid na imong lawas, no? So ayaw gyud pagdahom nga parehas imong lawas sa isa ka FHM model or sa, no, nihunong na kog damgo nga akong lawas maparehas kang Derek Ramsey nga nay abs nga naman, because na ako'y akong own ideal body weight and set point, meaning kung kaning akong lawas tambukon gyud siya and ideal ni siya, I'm healthy with this, wala ko nilahos sa obesity, wala po ko nagniwang kaayo, ideal optimal akong performance ani nga lawas, then that's my set point nga ideal body. And so I have to accept what I have, and the same sa inyo, ha. Set point is genetically determined, no? Efforts to move weight significantly from set points are resisted by compensatory changes in energy intake and expenditure. Munang uban nga sa uban nga mag-diet gyud sila, magluya pud jud sila ayo to the point nga magsakit-sakit sila because lahi ang ilahang ideal nga body weight, no, based on the observation that people's weight generally fluctuates within a narrow margin, no. So ang fluctuation sa imong lawas mura gyud na siya no, narrow ra jud kay na siya nga margin, meaning dili jud kay na ka significant, meaning kung muna gyud na imong lawas muna gyud na, especially when you reach past early 20s, no. Fails to account for the influence of social and environmental factors. So we have obesity, dili nato ni explain ang obesity, no, outside na ni sa atong topic, no. Anyway, dili siya maayo, no, that's for sure, no. And we have to maintain, even if tambukon ka, we have to maintain a certain level of butanta optimum body nga weight. Even if tambukon ka, sige fine, tambukon na ka, but do not let it go to obesity because ikaw ra gyapon ang mag-suffer. So one of daghan siya og consequences: cardiovascular disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, liver disease, sleep apnea, no, hormone colon cancer, breast cancer, infertility, and even arthritis, no? So we'll pass that. So we have eating disorders. Sige, ato aning i-discuss eating disorders. Do we still have time? Napakoy 15 minutes. Napamodera, guys? Buhi pa mo? Okay,
Yes,
buhi
sir.
pa sila. Salamat kay buhi pa mo, no? Dili ko mura o
Yes, sir.
sige, salamat, no? Anyway, eating disorders, no? So, first is bulimia nervosa, involves engaging in binge eating behavior followed by attempts to compensate for large amount of food consumed, no? So, unsa yung compensation? Vomiting, laxative, and excessive exercise, no? Health consequence, kidney failure, heart failure, and even tooth decay. Psychological problems, depression, anxiety, risk of substance abuse. So, unsa ning bulimia nervosa? It's an eating disorder wherein ang isa ka tawo would binge eat, daghan kina siya kanon, daghan siya i-intake nga food at a given time, no? Dili lang kanang gisulti ni ginahuna nimo nga daghan, actually daghan jud kay na sila kanon, like isa ka tab nga ice cream kanang mura sila gamukbang actually, no? So but it's mas worse nga naman because they would try to compensate after eating that butanta large amount of food. Mag-guilty sila, and what they would do is they will try to compensate by vomiting. Ilang i-induce ang ilahang vomit, isuka nila ilang gikaon, no? And they also use laxatives, no? This is an eating disorder, class, no? You don't want to have this because iyang root is psychological nga problem. Nadira ang depression, anxiety, and the risk of substance abuse. Kabalo mo ng substance abuse, apil na dira ang alcoholism, illegal drugs, marijuana, and so on and so forth. Okay? We have anorexia nervosa, no? If kailan mo ni Karen Carpenter, na siya anorexia. Maintenance of body weight below average to starvation and exercise. Most likely through starvation. Ginagpagutom nimo imong kaugalingon. Kaysa anorexia nervosa, it's actually a perceptive nga problem wherein you perceive yourself, your reflection sa mirror, you perceive it as tambok ra kaayo even if it's not, even if you're not that fat. And so munang gitawag nga distorted body image, tan-aw gini mo tambok jud kay ko. And so what a person tries to do is starve ilang kaugalingon hantud niwang na kay sila to the point nga niwang na kay sila, aya pa nila i-appreciate ilang kaugalingon. And even if niwang na kay sila, they still have this distorted nga reflection nga, uy, tambok pagyapon na, no? So, nana. And that's also, iyang root is psychological problems, no? Si Karen Carpenter actually ga sugod ang iyahang anorexia nervosa katong nag-divorce siya sa iyang bana. So that, no? So lahi-lahi ta og trigger points. So si contributing factors, many blame the media for its messages of the thin ideal. Mupod lagi na. Kay mupod lagi sa media kung niwang ka, sexy ka, no? So inana, no? But mo lagi, as I've said, namagutay atong own ideal body nga genetic nga gina-follow nga dili kay tungod ang ngayan sila. For those niwang, then good for them, but dili kay tungod nga di nimo ma-attain, pangit na din ka, no? Genetics may also predispose people to these disorders, no? So if na history sa family, no? Low self-esteem and other mental illnesses. If imong tanaw sa imong kaugalingon pangit and so on and so forth, if tanaw nimo sa imong kaugalingon is bate of low value, most likely mas dako kag chances nga maapektuhan ka sa media and how they portray women, right? Daghang kay for example katong gapakulot si Liza Soberano, di ba? What happened to women? Daghan po kay gapakolor og buhok and so on because they would try to imitate what's the media is telling them nga kanimoy gwapa, even if sila na mismo nindot na lang naong, no? What happens is that with their low self-esteem, they actually mas prone sila nga mutuo sa gina-feed sa ilaha sa media. If tanaw nimo ng mga magazines nga pambabae, which is very funny because sa first page pa lang ignon kanila nga uh, accept yourself for who you are, no? Pag abot sa page 10, kay inyong kanila nga, this is the type of beauty that you should be. Pag abot sa page 15, this is how you bake a cake, no? So kuan kay, it's actually very misleading, no? Also, another contributing factor would be life transition and even stress. Experiences such as abuse and bullying from other people, no? So kana personality types, natay gitawag nga perfectionism. This is not actually the technical term, but yes, natay gitawag gitawag anal retentive, the perfectionist type, no? So pwede. And family issues. Kana. Okay, we won't go here na siguro kay mura og layo na kayo. But anyway, part unta ni siya. But if you want, we will cover this next meeting. So that ends our topic for midterms. Any questions, class? Questions?